I will say, the best tip you've given me is these microphone things.
Yeah.
They
were great.
They're great.
Yeah.
I wish. My only regret is, and I think that when you do any project as you learn, like I just didn't have them sooner, because obviously Malcolm had done 2 episodes with my whatever hot mess it was of audio problems and pseudo fixes and that kind of stuff. But I have never, every time I go to edit, and I don't mean edit as in like take out words or whatever. I mean like add the intro and the
outro.
Yeah, is that the technical term?
I think
outro,
so.
Sign off thing. Yeah. All the audio, it doesn't matter if I'm doing it myself or if I do it with you. Like it's all condensed, and you can see like the old radio waves that you would see back in the day, like
when someone's talking, or
it looked like right. It's all yellow and it's all compact together. Where before with my audio, it was stupid. It was like up and down, up and down. It looked like an earthquake. What do you call those things when you're seismometers, whatever? Yep. It looked like one of those things, and then you would have these awkward where somebody would mumble or you would whatever, and then it was this point being these are great, and so cheap.
Oh yeah, like $50.
Yeah, or yeah. So this was the best thing that's happened to this podcast since its inception almost a year ago. So thanks for that. I owe you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So lots happened.
Yes.
Since the last time we talked.
Yeah.
You're still colorblind, I assume.
Still colorblind.
Haven't found a cure.
No contact or glasses have been purchased. No.
Sure.
Although they do exist apparently. Glasses.
They do?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
There's like a filtered glasses,
but they're like a red. They're like a red tinge, so you can't really hide it.
It'd be real hard starting on these.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna start with the obligatory CrossFit talk.
Yeah.
Because I don't know of anybody that does CrossFit that doesn't talk about CrossFit. So you just started ish.
I did. I'm on
in a real CrossFit, but like not just a
full blown CrossFit gym, 3 to 4 days a week.
Had you ever done it before?
Nope. I have done the Murph for several years.
Sure.
But that's the only thing I've ever done.
So when you were, we'll call it training because I think it is training before, because you're in the military and you're a pretty jacked dude. So obviously you work out. What kind of workouts were you doing before CrossFit?
So before CrossFit, I kind of tried to break it down into like cardio versus strength training. So I kind of I've really evolved most of my life, just kind of changing what I do. But I would say kind of like a very typical lifting schedule of like a push, pull, back, legs.
Making it up yourself.
Making it up myself, yeah. So I was fortunate enough that my dad was a personal trainer his whole life. Oh, good. So growing up kind of in a house, like I had a gym membership when I was 14 years old. And so just being a part of like understanding how to work out and what lifts do what things and how to break up a week, rest and work and
some background knowledge.
Yeah, the difference between doing high reps and low reps.
What kind of access to that stuff did you have? You just went to a gym, like a local public gym?
Yeah, we actually had a pretty good deal as far as like access to stuff because my dad was a Olympic trainer.
Oh, nice.
Yep, for the Army pentathlon team. So we had access to all kinds of like the Olympic Training Center and all these different college tracks and stuff. So yeah.
I always think it's like people without credentials who are experts just from being around something.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can pick up a lot of information. You don't necessarily have to have CSCS behind your name or NSCA behind your name. But if you spend a lot of time in that environment, you pick up a lot of things, right?
Yep. I think it's like very experiential too. Like you learn from your own experience from it. Like
that's all those guys did back in the day when you watch like the pumping iron videos and stuff. That's all they did was just experiment, but they lifted weights basically 8 hours a day, doing Arnold stuff, and they would see what works and what didn't. And it was all trial and error. And they had to get that advice from like the people that did it before them and the people that do it with them. Cause we didn't, obviously you and I can get unlimited information from the internet now.
Yeah.
Some of it's wrong from, 40, 50 years ago and some of it's right. But I always find that culture interesting.
Yeah.
So what was the gravitation towards
CrossFit?
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I started doing the tactical games.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the ones that I listened,
basically the CrossFit Games with shooting intermixed.
Yeah. Yep. So a lot of the big CrossFit athletes, Jacob Hepner does it. Jason Kalipa was signed up for it. Mm-hmm. I think Tulsi Gabbard did it.
She did. Yep.
You're doing the same games?
Same one. So
shit.
Yeah. So it's not like the CrossFit Games in terms of it's one event. Yeah. Like that, you qualify for, and so there are regional matches throughout the whole year.
Really?
And then basically, if you place top 3 in your class, if you want to call it that, at an event, then you qualify for the nationals, and then they have a national tournament or national championship once a year. And so,
wasn't it out in Nevada? Big one?
It's in Grinnell.
Well, that's a regional event, right?
Regional event, yes.
Right, but I'm talking about like the coup de grace, like where everybody's going.
Event is rotating, but it was in Texas this last year.
Yeah.
But it was great. So I love shooting. It's kind of like my hobby, what I like to do to relax, and it's kind of oriented with military stuff. I like working out, so it was kind of the two combined. It made sense to just go challenge myself.
I've seen this covered all over the place. Yep. Like some of the podcasts I listen to, they talk about it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, but this is the stuff you don't know about people unless you sit down and visit with them, right? Like and it's a big commitment too, because I would listen to Jason Kalipa talk about his training for it. Like it was like just like anything else. Like it's not just working out. You're trying to get
technical.
You need to shoot very accurately with a high heart rate.
Yes.
Higher than normal. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about like when the big buck walks by, it's probably the same type of thing, like adrenaline, heart rate, trying to focus.
Yep.
But it'd be a different. So imagine for the listeners, imagine doing a 400-yard sprint or 400 meter run, and then maybe 20 burpees, and then grabbing a handgun and trying to fit as many bullets as you can in an X-ring at 10 yards.
Yeah.
And then being scored on that. So that's a tough task.
Yeah. And it's all in body armor as well.
Right.
So it's kind of like the Murph. And I guess in that aspect of everything's weighted, so you're heavier than normal. And then just doing those movements with a weighted vest or a body armor. So, but I really learned some shortcomings that just normal strength training or just going out and running kind of brought me. So after that first year, I tried to incorporate a little bit more HIIT type movements as well as some more like Olympic movements. Because things like my grip, that was something that I totally underestimated, that just holding on to a gun after I've been doing a bunch of cleans or pull-ups with a weighted vest, my grips are just shot. And so I've tried to kind of incorporate it a little bit more into workouts since the first games. And then last year I did better than the year before. But the local CrossFit gym was offering it's a genius marketing plan. If you're a gym owner, do this. They offered 2 months unlimited access to the gym. But in order to continue your free membership, you have to attend at least 3 classes a week.
Sure.
And so that's, I think, plays a big part. Like I really like it. So
easily you could do that free trial for a month and then be like, get a month's worth of free workouts and then be like, peace out. I know enough now to do my own. Are they an affiliate member? Because I know that comes with a lot of extra baloney. Like they have to pay a subscription basically to CrossFit Inc. to hold their affiliate. So I know that. So I used to do I've been CrossFitting for over a decade, and I think it's the single most greatest programming ever, because it's like when we grew up, we would basically get the new edition of Muscle and Fitness or whatever. And it would come with a month plan to grow your biceps or whatever. And you would do that for a month, and then you'd be like, okay, what now? My biceps really didn't grow. But I had this workout that I followed for a month. So what do you do now? And then when I discovered CrossFit and the main side, it was like, there's a new workout every day. And most of the stuff I really suck at, but I want to be really good at it. And I've never once in over a decade felt burnt out. Like I'm going to leave here. And then over time I built my own CrossFit garage gym, which is a term thrown out, and it's legit. It's not just a couple kettlebells and a yoga mat, man. Like it is everything at my house you can do at your gym. Which I've been very fortunate. I'm not bragging. I'm just very fortunate. But I've never once been burnt out by it.
Sure.
Because it's constantly varied, right? Like you're always trying to find something to get better at. The community part of it, where you belong. So I belonged to a gym for a while. It was CrossFit Primal back in the day in Joaquin. It was great. I loved every second of it. But what I didn't like was, my class time was basically 9 to 10. And then that was it. Well, I like to goof off a lot. Like, so meaning I like to like do the workout, but then I like to work on a bunch of other stuff too.
Sure.
Like I can be in my garage for a couple hours, just goofing off, getting better at shit that I suck at. So I didn't like the fact that I was paying that much money. And
you had to kind of get out once.
And then once the class was over, like you did the standard typical warm up and then some mobility. And then you do a strength, something where there was clean and jerks or, back squats or whatever that day. And then you do the Metcon, which is which is what you see on, YouTube and the CrossFit games. And then you basically do a cool down. It's like, all right, see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I got some time. Like, can I work on my muscle ups or can I do another workout or something like that? And they're like, no, you got to go. And so, and then, I just we had another kid and it just wasn't working out with nap time and that. So I just basically over time built my own garage gym and it's been great. Like I've never, but that community aspect of it, when you're getting pushed by other people and you walk into a gym and you're like, man, you look like sizable competition here. I'm going to get to that next level by doing that. And then
I think there's so many pieces to the group fitness that I underestimated. I think like misery loves company.
Yeah.
And so when other people are being miserable right next to you, or like this morning walked in and they were just finishing up the last class and everyone's just lying on the floor dying basically. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good day,
which is the typical CrossFit position.
Yes.
I've learned over time, and this is kind of one of my things, to not let myself get there because then it portrays that the workout won, and I will not let that happen. Sure. So I will not get on the floor and wither in pain, position. Right? In wither in pain. I may put my hands on my knees, but I will not portray to the fact that just whipped my ass.
Yeah.
Even though it may have.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else to it. Oh, and so what that does is that brings you to so when I was training for my first CrossFit competition, I did the same thing. Like I was way wrong. I was way off in my training. I was training chippers a lot, meaning I was just going to outgrind my competition.
Sure.
Because you may be able to work out real fast for 10 minutes, but I can work out real good for an hour.
Right.
Well, no local CrossFit competition ever puts a chipper in.
No.
That's something you don't realize until you get to one. They do all 7-8 minute workouts because they can cram more workouts in. So your registration fee, it's kind of like the hourly wage.
You feel like you're getting more out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you add up the time, like I did a CrossFit competition, I added up the time that I spent working out was 19 minutes. Well, it cost me $75 to enter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so, but I did 4 workouts and all totaled 19 minutes. Well, I would train in my garage for an hour. And my mentality was, I'm just going to outwork you. So I would harness up my sled and I would walk up the hill.
Sure.
And then I would come back and I would do a bunch of stuff. What I didn't know was that never really got my heart rate up. And so the first time I had to do butterfly pull-ups with a heart rate of 160, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I can do butterfly pull-ups. I can do a lot of them. Never once did I train to do that with a heart rate of 160.
Sure. Yeah.
And so when it came time to do it,
it's very similar to like my first CrossFit games.
I was lost, man. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Or tactical games was very much the same way. It was like, I can clean and I can put this bar over my head and walk.
Yeah.
But after doing it for 10 minutes as fast as I can,
yes,
different
ball game.
Yeah.
And I can do a muscle up. Can I do muscle ups? That's a different thing too, right? Like I can do singles.
Yeah.
I can do maybe 3 at the most. None of which I can do with a heart rate of 150. So we'll get off the CrossFit talk now, but I'm glad you found it, man. Like it's did you do Cindy this morning?
I did.
So that's my favorite workout. What'd you get?
So, well, we were mixing, so they're doing Murph prep right now. So it was multiple Cindy's. So it was not the conventional, was it 20 minutes? Is that normal?
So Cindy normal is a 20-minute AMRAP.
Yep.
Which is as many rounds as possible. 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats.
Right. So it was 2 rounds of 3-minute row and then 3 minutes of Cindy and then 3 minutes of assault bike, 3 minutes of Cindy.
Working on conditioning.
Repeat that twice. Yep. So it's just prep for the Murph.
Yeah. Which is how I do Murph. I do Murph with the mile run and then I'll do rounds of Cindy.
Yep.
I'll do 20 rounds of Cindy.
Yep.
And then I'll do the mile run again.
Yep. But it's been fun. It's been also like new skills. Like I've never done a kipping pull-up before. So learning some of like the gymnastic moves as well. It's just something new.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't do anymore out of like, it's just, I don't need it, right? Like handstand push-ups. I don't need those in life.
Right.
I don't need a heavy snatch anymore in life. It's hard for me to get past the butterfly pull-ups because it took me so long to learn them, and I can do a lot of them in a row. I don't really need those anymore, right? But
that's what's kind of cool about it, though, is that I expected it to be very like regimented, and this is what you're going to do. But there are people in that gym of every walk of life.
It's infinitely scalable.
Yes.
And this is the only workout modality that you can find an alternative to.
Yep.
And if you can put your ego down, and I think this is the problem. We're going to get off on a tangent here. I can just feel it. This is the problem I have with like high school strength and conditioning. Okay. Nobody, when I lifted weights in high school, really knew, like your football coach was your strength coach. Probably had some endorsement through college, probably through the NSCA. But if we took 10 football athletes and we lined them on squat racks and we said, okay, squat, you would see probably almost 10 different variations of that back squat. Some really, really good and some really, really bad. But they would never take those really, really bad ones and modify their movement, either by using a box as a box squat or taking the bar completely away and using like a dumbbell for goblet squats or even taking that away completely and just working on mobility to get your body in a good position.
Yeah.
Right? We never did that in high school. And that practice continues today.
You're talking about coaching, essentially, right? It's a lack of coaching. There's programming and then there's coaching.
Right.
Yeah.
But in that environment, in the CrossFit world, we call it scaling, right? Like if you can't do it the way that it's meant to be done, here's a version for you.
You can't do a kipping pull-up, you do a jumping pull-up. And then if you can't do that, you jump off a box.
Use your bands or whatever, right? Like, but there's ways to get the work done still. In my opinion, the high school strength and conditioning programs that I've been around, there is none of that. It is just kind of almost like figure it out. And you have one coach in there for 30 guys or 30 girls, and you can't possibly watch them all. And you've got people back squatting too much weight with really bad form instead of setting them up for success. And that meaning, let's just work to it. Because really, if I had a guy that could do a 50-pound goblet squat, 5 sets of 10, he is much more valuable to me than the guy who can kind of shitty back squat 315, right? Yep. That doesn't get to parallel and leans his chest over to get the weight up and only does it one time.
A walking back injury just waiting to happen,
And he can only do it one time. That guy is useless to me.
Right.
But the guy that can do 50 reps with a heavy dumbbell with really good form, he's the guy I want. He's the guy I want out there. But it's just a culture thing, right? Like anything else.
And I guess it's actually kind of a perfect tie-in, unintentional, to what my job, like what my side hustle, what we're here to talk about.
Yes,
kind of like lack of coaching, lack of teaching. Not to throw shade or insult anyone in this world, but I just don't think that there's a difference between knowing how to do something and teaching people how to do it, right?
Okay.
Like those football coaches that you're talking about, like they probably played college ball or have a certification of some sort, but do they know how to coach someone into proper squat form?
That's a good point. Let's get right into the Cadre Training then.
Yeah.
And mostly because I'm clearly interested in the content and what your mission is.
Sure.
But I really want to celebrate the fact that you had an idea and instead of finding a reason not to do it, like a lot of people do, they're like, well, I really want to start an ice cream shop, but I'm sure the taxes are probably pretty high. So they just don't, they talk themselves out of it because it's a safe option. I really have this great idea and it makes me feel good, but I'm going to talk myself out of it because that's safe. And I'll just always wonder what it could have been. And that's, you had an idea and you said, listen, I'll figure out how to make this happen. That's really the concept I want to celebrate today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not an easy thing to do, but we'll start with it. Let's start with the name.
Yeah.
Cadre Training, where'd it come from? What's it mean?
Yep. So cadre is kind of I think it's most commonly used in the military, but usually cadre is referred to as I think by the definition of it is like a small group of people trained in a very specific profession or skill.
Okay.
And so like we would look at our, combat medic instructor, and they're considered cadre. Like that's the name or the kind of the title of that position.
It's a good title. It's very robust.
Yeah.
It sounds
cool.
Yeah. It sounds like this is something I want to look into.
Yeah.
How long ago did the idea?
Yeah. So just like you said, we find ways to talk ourselves out of this. So for a long time, I would say probably 3 to 4 years, I've mulled the idea of doing private or just having my own training company.
Okay.
And for all the reasons you listed before, right? Like, I don't know how to get an LLC. I don't know how to make a website. Like nobody will really want to pay, or it's not going to be worth my time.
Right.
Everyone already has training figured out.
A lot of ideas are left on the table just for that. Yep. And I've always said that ideas are dumb. Mm-hmm. They really are, unless you're putting in the work to try to make it come to life. Mm-hmm. For the most part.
Yeah.
Ideas are movies.
Yep.
Unless you never write a script, then that idea never comes to the big screen, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're like, listen, I got this thing, but not right now. It's not the right time. I don't have the money. I'll probably hit to a roadblock. So you did this for a while.
Yep.
And the idea came to mind. Why? Like, where did this idea come
from? I would say really kind of the idea of kind of like that classic saying, like if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, sure.
And so I really love small group training and education. And kind of when I think back on like who's influenced me, who's influenced my career, they're almost all educators or teachers of some sort. Like someone who's very good at connecting with people, teaching people, and giving you a new skill or a better understanding of something. And then with my role at AirMed as the educator, I get out, we do a lot of, outreach education, and bringing some sort of education to kind of like these smaller rural communities and EMS services. The gratitude and the compliments that I receive from it is just like, wow, that's a really good feeling. Like it just makes me feel good.
Big dopamine hit.
Yeah. Makes me feel good. And after so long of getting, complimented, like that was a really good class. Like I learned a lot today. Thank you. It just kind of makes me go like, okay, like I feel like I have a product that people want. And so that was sort of the first piece of me taking the jump, is like, okay, now I think I actually do have a product.
There seems to be a market for this.
There seems to be a need, but then there's still all of those like, well, but there's, Flight Bridge, or there's Impact. There's all these other avenues of training.
There's competition.
It's already been done. Yeah.
It means there's competition.
Right.
Same thing with podcasting. Mm-hmm. Like it's saturated market, right? And I'm not interested in competing with anybody.
Right.
But there's a niche.
Yes.
Right. In the podcast world, if you can find a niche, you can find a way.
Yeah.
Training is probably the same deal. There's a lot of big aftermarket stuff out there.
Very much so.
But what do you offer that these people don't?
So my kind of big difference, I would say, is I pretty much always just do in person. So for example, like with our flight team, and somebody gets on the team, they need to get their advanced flight certification. Here's this online module, right? Here's 36 hours of training.
Yeah.
Listen to it at your convenience, which is great, right? I can listen to it in my car while I'm on, at work, and then know the content, right? And take the test. I think that's great. That's how I learned a lot of my knowledge.
So I got my personal trainer certification, same thing, right?
Right.
Order the reference material, study at your leisure, go somewhere, take a test.
Yep.
Bam, you're certified.
Yep. But I think more people than not prefer in-person experiential learning.
Sure.
And so I think that's where the idea came from, that while this information is accessible online, people will pay and are willing and want, and I think the end product is better when it's done in person.
Sure.
So while I can't say where it's going to go, maybe eventually there will be online education available, I'm pretty much just looking at doing in-person, smaller group education.
I think people appreciate those relationships that are built, right? I think even just doing this, like people really want to connect with other people.
Yeah.
As much as we in EMS try to say, no, I'm not really a people person. You're not a public person. There's a difference between not being a public person and not being a people person. But once you get a bunch of like-minded people together, you're right. People kind of loosen up a little bit and they're like, man, this is great. It's hard to do with online content.
Yes.
I've learned a lot on online content, but having that interaction, I think, levels it up a little bit. Is that?
I would agree. Yeah. In person, definitely. I think the other part is like, I can't ask a question, right? I can't pause and go, hey, can you explain this a different way? This doesn't make sense to me. And I think just some of the visuals or just overall being in person, I think it's just better.
Yeah.
It's just
in
better
anything you do.
Yeah. Yep.
Talking on the phone with somebody, having a conversation is nice.
Yep.
But visiting with somebody in person is always better.
And from the educator side of it, like as the instructor, we forget how much we use, like nonverbal communication is a huge majority of our actual communication as human beings. And so just talking to a computer, I get no feedback. I can't look at people's faces, their body language, like they're getting this, they're not getting this. So
the idea comes, let's go through the building a business process.
Yeah.
If you're interested.
Sure. Let's do it.
So I see LLCs all the time. So one of my favorite things to do in life is just drive around during turkey season and find turkeys, punch up on my little app, who owns the property, and see if I can find an address where I can go knock on their door and see if they'll let me turkey hunt. However, everything is wrapped up in an LLC. So that's basically a business name. The tax address may not be representative of the actual physical address.
Correct.
So is establishing an LLC step one?
It is. Yep.
Okay. So what does that mean and how do you do it?
Yep. So, and really the big reason why you want to establish a LLC is for kind of two main reasons. The first one is for taxes. And then the second one is for the fact that like it kind of separates the income that your business is generating from your personal finances.
Okay.
And so if for whatever reason someone were to sue or your business were to go bankrupt, it's an entirely separate component away from your personal finances. So it's sort of, and again, I have no business education or training. This is just my understanding.
Did you have to consult somebody or did you?
So believe it or not, it's actually pretty simple. You can just find, so you file your LLC with the state, but you can go online and find like these different forms. Basically, it's like essentially like a form builder. And it's just like, what's the business name? What is this? What is this? What's the address? Like, what's your name? Social security number, all that address. And then it just sort of generates this form. And then you send that form into the state and then pay a small fee. It's like $50. And then you get in the mail.
And then your business is born?
Your business is born. It's that simple.
No way.
Yep.
Well, listen, just hearing that may be provoking enough people to be like, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So step one, you created the concept.
Yep.
I'm going to offer training and I'm going to come up with this really cool name. Now we need to set it in motion. So we filed with the state. We are now Cadre Training LLC.
Yep.
Mike Schultz. What's next?
Then what? So then once you get your tax ID and your LLC, then it was getting a bank account because you can't open up a business banking account without those tax IDs.
Okay.
So then it was just go to the bank, 30-minute appointment. There you go. So now I got a bank account associated to my business. And then probably the biggest component after this was building a website.
Yeah, that is probably a project, but walk us through that.
Yeah, so I used Squarespace. Just
I've heard about it.
Listen to Joe Rogan, like just one of those random insert ads in his podcast of it. I won't lie, it's not easy, but it was not terribly hard. It was doable. Like I had no help. It was just a matter of.
Does the website itself lend it to learning and using and like the Squarespace?
A little bit. It's very like drag and drop. Like, there's a little bit of tutorials that they have on there, but it really was more of just messing around with it and just playing with it and going like, okay, I want to put this.
Which is half my technological life. It's just.
Yep. And then imagery. And so using things like Canva is an app that I use to make like some of the images and like the actual digital products, the logo.
Any of that free? Or is it all you have to pay? Pay for the good stuff and then free for a few features, but then pay for the good stuff?
Yeah, Canva is like $30 a month, and that's how I made my logo.
Okay.
And then also it's what I use to make all of the like flyers if I put like a class together, or also like my PowerPoint template. So I have like a custom PowerPoint for my like branding, basically. Yeah. So that's how I use my branding. And then Squarespace, I think it's like $36 a month, which is well worth it.
Just to keep your website to keep your website up and running.
Correct. And then through the website is also how I invoice. And so there's a whole financial piece. That's why I have to pay $36 a month, is that I invoice my clients. And then if I were to offer classes that just any person can sign up for, they sign up through the website and check out using like Apple Pay,
PayPal, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, exactly. And so all of that is linked to my bank account.
And you learned how to do all that through the website tutorials, or you
basically, it's just like, you know, are you going to charge people, or are you going to invoice people? And it's like, click a button, produce an invoice, and then you're just filling in blanks.
So really, like the intimidation factor of starting your own business outside of traditional businesses, meaning you find a building, you have a storefront, you pay for signage, you get, I'm talking like old school here, maybe you buy a couple radio ads or whatever, and then you buy your overhead, which is your inventory for whatever you're selling, whatever service you provide. That's a big thing. Like if you're going to, but an online business or a education business or something like this is fairly, like really not intimidating.
It probably helped with doing it, right? Because it's a big pill to swallow to go, okay, I'm going to take some savings and I'm going to move it over and invest it in this risk and hope that it works out, or else I've lost whatever money I put into it. Whereas,
but again, that's another reason to not do it. We find a way, right?
Like, absolutely, right? But this was a little bit, I guess that part was a little bit easier for me, as really what I was investing was my time and like my ego, right? Yeah. And my just
because what's the worst case scenario?
It's that fear of failure, right?
What's the worst case scenario?
Right.
Doesn't work out.
Well, that doesn't work out, and it's a chapter in my life, you know.
We could, man, there's a lot of different ways we can go with. The fact that people are willing to take that risk, like I've always said, the best way to start figuring out a problem is just start working on a problem. So come up with an idea. All right, how do I get that idea out there? I don't really know, but just let me start moving stuff around and clicking things and finding things out. There's so much more I can do with this show that I don't know about, but there's all kinds of free information out there on how to brand the show, make it bigger, send it, whatever, and all things I'm interested in, right? And maybe when it slows down here in June after my when I'm on medical leave, maybe I'll try to figure some of that stuff out more. But right now I kind of avoid that kind of stuff because I'm like, I'm gonna watch a tutorial video and it's gonna tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I don't want to hear that. I want to hear what I'm doing right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's going to tell me that I could be doing this much, much better if I would just do this, and all of it's right. And the biggest problem that I have, and maybe you can add to this too, is trying to market it through social media is not as easy as it sounds.
No.
Like getting people
still trying to figure that out,
involved in to interact with your page, to do those things so it shows up in the algorithm. I thought if I just posted every day for 30 days or whatever, then it would show up.
Just volume, right?
Volume, right? And everybody would be like, oh my God, all of a sudden I got 2 likes. And all of a sudden I got 150 likes and people are sharing. That's not true at all. Like even if you look at, and I only use Instagram. So let's talk about social media advertising. If you're doing any of that, I only use Instagram because it's the only social media platform I have. I'm not interested in getting Twitter. I'm not interested in having Facebook again because it just comes with a whole lot of extra stuff that I'm not interested in. But Instagram is where I get a lot of my information.
Right.
So I follow hobby stuff. I don't, on my personal page, I don't follow you, Mike Schultz. On my show page, I do because I want to know what my listeners are doing and I want to know what, how they're interacting. But in my personal life, if I want to know what you're doing, I'll just call you.
Right.
I want to find out about hobby stuff.
Yep. I'm very much like you too. Like I didn't have a Facebook until I started this.
Right. And it's almost a necessity.
It is.
Like if you're going to do it, it's otherwise how else do people
Yep.
And I was really surprised about how little, even if I asked somebody in the show, like, comment, share, tell me what your favorite, or if I put out a survey, how little interaction that gets. And I was under the impression that if you just build it, people will come.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not true at all.
Right.
And I don't know what the magic secret is. I'm sure Riverside, who's the platform that I use to record podcasts with, I use the free version, has all kinds of YouTube clips on how to do it. I just don't know that I'm willing to link up all those. Now, that being said, if I'm not willing to do it, then I'm probably not willing to grow it. I get how this sounds, but there's probably a lot of stuff I'm leaving on the table that I don't know. Tell me about your social media experience and trying to figure out how is it that you're growing this business in a world where it's just basically all virtual.
Yeah. Well, to be clear, it's still in progress, right? So my social media presence has gotten to where I have pages and I have a couple posts of just like, this is who I am. This is what we do. This is sort of the mission of the business. And that's kind of where it stopped for now, to be honest. Life got a little bit busy. But probably within the next month, I'm going to start, like, that's kind of my next journey, right? That's the other thing, is it's starting your own business or doing something. You have to remind yourself, like, it's your journey, it's your time, right? There's no rush to any of this.
But what I've learned is you got to make intentional time to do it. You have to build the habit.
You do.
So I had grand aspirations. Every morning I get up at 5 anyway. So every morning I'm going to do intentional work on the show from 5 to 5:45. I've never built that habit in over a year.
Sure.
Right. And so I went from posting every day to occasionally I'll throw something out on the show page just to let everybody know I'm still around. Right.
Yep.
And it generates like 4 or 5 likes. Right. And then outside of that, I do very little. So I've never really built a habit of intentional work to make it better until I'm forced probably to where that's the only thing I'm going to do.
Yep.
In the next couple months.
And I think with my, I guess what I'm, again, we'll find out. But my marketing plan is going to be a little bit different than social. I will use social media. But I think with training and education, and then EMS being a small world, especially here in Iowa, I think it's all word of mouth, or I think word of mouth is going to be my best.
It's going to grow organically.
Correct.
Which is what I hoped for the show. Was like, you were going to talk about it.
Yep.
And then somebody at work was going to be like, all right, I'll listen.
Yep.
And then somebody else at work was like, hey, do you know, is there a metric that, do you have a metric where you can go look at and say, my website has been hit X amount of times in this time period?
Yep.
Do you look at it?
Not a ton. Sort of my big, I would say I've like soft launched. And then kind of hard launch is going to be probably towards the middle to end of May, where I'm going to probably go out and actually just get in stations and just introduce myself, talk to people.
That's the old school way.
Yeah.
The old salesman.
Because again, I'm like, the product is me. And so I don't think that necessarily looking at a Facebook or Instagram photo or making a really cool PowerPoint slide that I post with fun facts about ventilators is going to get them to commit to the time to have me come out and train them. And so,
yeah, that makes sense.
So really getting out and just meeting people, talking to people, identifying what they want training in, or maybe where they lack training. And again, just that personal communication, and interaction, or maybe just getting to see me in another class or at a conference. I think that's how I've gotten referrals and or business thus far. So
right now, where you at? What platforms do you have right now? You have Instagram, because I follow you on Instagram.
Yep, I have Instagram. So I'm dealing with a Facebook ism, if you want to call it that. So I have a personal Facebook that I'm using as my business platform as well. And then that's it for social media, honestly, just Instagram and Facebook. And then I have a website.
You're not tweeting anything?
Not tweeting.
So one of the things that I can do is I can add on the show, I can add links to your stuff.
Social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to do it because I've never done it.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure that out.
I think I'll add a link in the show notes, maybe when I do my little description of what this week's show about.
Yeah.
I think I can put them there.
If all else fails, you can put my website in there. And then at the very bottom of my website are the Instagram and Facebook, like my social media links.
So sometime today after we get done, whatever, text me your website link.
Yeah.
And I'll figure out how to put it into when I write the little ditty about the show. So we've talked, so the idea, basically just build momentum, get the ball rolling.
Yep.
LLC, you put a little financial kick into it because you kind of got to, like, as much as I try to keep this show free, like I don't want to spend money. It's a hobby. You have to put a little equity into it, right? You built your website.
Yep.
Okay. And now what's next?
Yeah. So now it's really just more effort into what I'm doing. So like everything thus far, and the jobs that I've, I guess you want to call booked, and done thus far have been kind of organically come to fruition, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I have done some training for some departments.
Do you specialize in any particular training, or are you on demand? Meaning I want to do ventilator management. That's my niche. That's what I do. Or are you doing encompassing all EMS? What kind of services are you providing?
Yep. So it is on demand in regards to anything you guys want training on. I can put a custom class together. And then I do have canned courses that I offer to programs. So like if I work for, name the local EMS service and you want a ventilator class, I have a canned ventilator class, and we can kind of grow that to as little or as much, tailor it, I guess, to the needs of the department. So it can be an 8-hour day, it can be a 2-hour class, it can be whatever you want. So ventilator is a big one. Obviously I love ventilators. I think they're probably one of the best tools that we have that's the least understood.
It is so, it baffles me really that like a respiratory therapist takes 2 years of school and that's without a ventilator. And then they go to where they work and they're like, all right, we carry the Hamilton.
Right.
Here's the in-service on the Hamilton. And then these people do all kinds of great things with it. And then you and I, we'll put one on a helicopter and be like, hey man, head south for a COPD that needs intubated.
Yep.
And we're like, okay.
Yep.
I'll just turn it on and make sure I do these kind of things. And we do it. I used to think that when I first started in this air medical transport, like one of the coolest things we could do was have a vented patient.
I agree. That was like the difference between a flight medic and a ground medic, right? The ventilator.
And like, you're right, because we had a ventilator on the ambulance, but it was it was a tidal volume and it was a rate, right? Yeah. Like, and by law, it could only be 3 knobs, right?
Yep.
And then we got in the helicopter and we're like, why is this thing beeping? Why there's so many alarms on this son of a, and not every ventilator is a good ventilator, in my opinion. Like, I think we've come a long way in the software and in the intuitivity, if that's a word, of ventilators, where they make them easier, but they're still very complicated.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It is. Like it's a whole other craft, I guess, in my mind. And with EMS, especially, I think nationwide, but in Iowa particularly, there's less and less resources. We're becoming more centralized with our healthcare. And so having a transport service with a vent that has more than 3 knobs is becoming more common, especially after COVID.
Especially on the ground. If we get the CCP endorsement, you can now run a ventilator that has more than 3 knobs.
You don't even need your CCP endorsement now. So just as a paramedic, you can run a vent.
The same vent we use.
Correct.
So out of touch. With ground EMS.
Yep. It used to be CCP, and then now
CCP only.
Just a paramedic they can run. I don't mean that as just a paramedic.
Yeah, we understand.
Paramedics can run a full complex vent.
Man, that's great.
And so having all of those, it's great if you know what you're doing.
Is that nationwide, or did Iowa just
Iowa?
Just Iowa let that?
Yeah. And so that's a big mission of mine. That's kind of going to be my big first push, is that there's just no good training. It's hard for departments to do internal training on something that no one knows how to use.
I probably spend the majority of my time on like self-study is almost inclusively on vent management.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's one of those things where I can't listen to it enough, because I'll pick up something. Like if I listen to 5 hours of ventilator management, I'll pick something up. But and then in the next 5 hours I listen to, I'll pick something else. I may not understand it, completely as a whole in those 5 hours and be like, oh man, I'm an expert.
Yep.
It has certainly evolved over time to where instead of just being very rudimentary with a tidal volume and a rate, now we're learning the subtleties of not only good oxygenation, but really good ventilation.
Yeah.
Right. You could probably make a living.
That's
aside from working from a ventilator company,
right?
Just going around and trying to make people feel better about management.
And that's to go back on an experience we both shared, right? When we got our new Hamilton vent, they sent out, an RT to come and train our service. And I'm sure you felt the same way I did. Even being one that probably obsesses a little more with the vent than maybe other people on our program do.
Sure.
It was extremely challenging and it made no sense.
Yes.
And so that was where I kind of identified, like, okay, you can be an expert in something. Like, I'm sure he's a great RT, knows what he's doing. But teach,
getting that message across,
to teach people, right? It's the high school physical trainer, right? Like, they know what they're doing, but to get someone else to understand what they're doing is different. And so adult learning is its own beast in itself. And so
I was relieved though, through all that stuff that we got, like, even as it was new and it was complex, you still got that feeling that, man, this is way better than what we've had.
Yes.
This is way more intuitive and better for patient comfort.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything than where we came from.
Yeah.
Which is obviously the goal of any evolution, right? It's just to make it better.
Yeah.
How many services out there though would have an advanced ventilator that you could make enough?
I don't want to throw a random guess out there, but I would say outside of like the central
big piece of equipment, a lot of money, and a lot of these rural services,
far more than you think, and I think it's growing by the day.
Good.
I think after COVID with the Voxen vent, it's like the state provided ventilator. It's still not a bad vent. And so a lot of programs are realizing, I think, the tool at their disposal. But then again, here's the problem. We got this great tool. How do we use it? Right?
And then you go like, well, I used it today, but it might be 6 weeks before I use it again.
Right.
And then you're like, the ventilator, I swear to God, is one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it. Like there's constant stuff. And you're like, what was that RC exploratory thing I'm supposed to do again? Like I'm supposed to take it by 2? No, it's times 3. Oh, now I get it. Right. Like, so it's one of those things I think that you could, obviously, man, if you can.
Well, and I think kind of what I'm noting with different people at different levels in their career or different experiences with the ventilator is that, and I'm going to nerd out a little bit on adult learning here.
Please do.
But so we use like an acronym RUAC. It's RUAC. So it's sort of how it's a way to describe how an adult learns things. And so the first one is rote memorization. And so like if I were to teach you the ventilator, the first component of learning the ventilator is just going, hey, this is tidal volume, and that's how much volume goes in their lungs each breath. And this is rate button, right? And you're just rote memorizing. You don't understand why you need to know these things. I just need you to know what these things do. Like this is what SIMV does. This is what assist control does. And what is the difference? And all you're really getting is just rote memorization to where you can parrot it back to me, but it doesn't really mean much to you.
Okay.
So that's the first step of learning something, is just memorization. And then the next step is where you actually understand it. And so when I say, like, I could have you rote memorize that, hey, if they are not oxygenating, increase PEEP or increase their FiO2, right? And you'll understand why those things work. Right? That's the next level, is that you first just memorized, hey, if they're not oxygenating, increase PEEP or increase FiO2, but you don't understand why.
Sure.
And then understanding why is the next level. And so that's kind of the next piece or the next ascension in learning a skill or a task is, now I understand that PEEP improves oxygenation through X, Y, and Z. And then the next part is applying it. So application. And so now I'm going to apply a scenario and I'm going to go, okay, here's your patient. They're on the ventilator. SATs are dropping. Oh, well, I've memorized that PEEP and FiO2 improve oxygenation. So I'm going to apply that to that thing. And that's where then the final phase of that is when we start bringing in or we correlate it to other things.
Okay.
So maybe we talked about we go, okay, well, I know that like a CHF patient, I would put CPAP on that patient
Mm-hmm.
in the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I have this intubated CHF patient on my ventilator and they're not oxygenating. We should apply PEEP and FiO2.
Mm-hmm.
That'll fix it. And so it's taking kind of two known things and correlating them together.
Do you think this really ties into that imposter syndrome I did a few weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever sit back and think, like, who am I to tell people about this? Like, who am I to... Are people going to want to listen to what I have to say? And or is this something that's going to work?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there really a thing? Does that ever cross your mind? And I'm not saying this to set you up. Like, I want you to say yes. Like, but putting yourself out there on the internet to say, hey, listen, if you need help being real good at something, I'm the guy I want you to call.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a big thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a big, and I know that your product will sell itself, right? But once you get in there and they're like, but does that ever?
It does.
The doubt.
Yeah, it does. I have, from day one of being an educator for AirMed, and even going back further to like when I worked for the military as an educator for a little bit, the imposter syndrome, I don't think it ever goes away. I just think the confidence gets better, but there's still certainly times where I pull up somewhere and go like, am I who they need? Right. But at the end of the day,
are they gonna believe what I'm saying? Like, am I gonna, that's the thing that I get into sometimes is, even just the other day when we did that CCP class, I was like, man, are these guys gonna buy what I'm selling? Like, does it sound like I know what I'm talking about? Like, and there's always that little bit in my brain that goes, man, you sound like a dipshit, but they seem to be getting it. And is that our own?
That's definitely
thing, or is that?
And I think that's where maybe that's the imposter syndrome piece that I got over that drove me to actually commit to the business. Was at a certain point, after so many people say, I feel better now, I know how to do this.
Somebody's got to be the expert. Why not you?
Right.
Right.
And I think it's more about going or telling myself, I am not the know-all, end-all of ventilators or whatever topic they pay me to teach. But rather, I feel very confident in that I know how to communicate and I know how to train someone in what I know.
Sure.
And so if I can elevate them a little bit, but make them learn rather than just getting up in front of a class, saying some really big words, making myself look really smart. Not
regurgitating some sort of canned course that is regurgitated all across this country the same way.
Correct.
But based off your experience, I'm going to teach you what I know based on my...
Yep. And starting at the base level, right? I could probably show up at a department and just nerd out on the most insane, obscure thing about ventilators. And they go, wow, that guy knows a lot about ventilators. He's validating himself that he's qualified to do this.
He used a bunch of smart words.
But when they walk away, they go, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's
like, we should leave the ventilator to him.
That's a good point.
And so going into it and going and starting at that base level of like, here's the basic things we need to know, right? Most of the time I feel like I'm insulting intelligence, right? As it's like going in and going, we got to start.
But you have to, because there's how many times you've been in a room full of people that want to ask the question, but they don't want to sound dumb.
Yes.
And it's a real elementary question.
Yes.
And it's at the beginning of your lecture. And then if they would have just asked the question, the comprehension of the entire lecture would have been much, much better.
Yep.
But people are scared to say, so if you just come out and say, hey, listen, I'm going to start 101, basic level stuff. Yep. This is the on button. And everybody's like, I kind of wanted to know where the on button was.
Yep. And
then they kind of loosen up, and the whole other lecture kind of goes well.
Yeah.
Right.
And then just even with that, just as an instructor, making people feel comfortable. We talk a lot about like human nature and feeling, safe in the classroom and making it an environment free. So I share a lot of like my failures, my stories, how I came to learn this through this error. Yeah. And so kind of making yourself a human as well, and kind of bringing it down to their level makes people feel comfortable. And so
the vent being probably the most advanced thing we can discuss and talk about.
Yeah.
Do you go to the most basic level too? Like, are you educating EMT basics? Are we talking about oral glucose and EpiPens here still?
Yep. So like I said, I'm willing to pretty much teach anything to any department. And then I'm actually also diving into civilian education. So I feel pretty...
What does that mean?
Like I'm pretty passionate about self-reliance just as a citizen of the United States. I think we should all be an asset and should be kind of our own first response, right? Like we all have
putting a tourniquet in your pocket type of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily carrying around, an aid bag everywhere I go,
Sure.
I want to empower someone who wants to know a way to go, hey, if this happens, what do I do? Like nothing is worse than having an emergency or a crisis, especially with your family or out in the public and just going, I have no idea what I'm doing.
And this transcends like bystander CPR.
Yep. So like bystander CPR, a little bit more extended version of stop the bleed. So I'm kind of calling it like a prepared first or prepared citizen type of medical class. And so even just the little things of like, well, okay, I know how to put on a tourniquet. Where do I put a tourniquet? Like, where do I carry it?
Sure.
Right. So like, what should you keep in your house? Like, what are some things that are good to have on hand? What are some things that you'd keep in your car?
What's the audience for this? This is like corporate America? Is this like
yeah, so I plan on putting in some
you go to libraries
like
or
just community ones and just say, hey, like if you're in Ankeny and you want to come and do this class, this is when it's going to be offered this day.
Sure.
And then also corporate America, I'm currently working on a business up north a little bit that the employer just wants to basically pay for all of their staff to get this first aid training.
Oh, nice.
To just be more prepared, kind of as like a gift to their employees of like, hey, if you guys want to show up to do this, here it is.
Let's broach the topic that I don't really think a lot of people like hearing about, but you and I love talking about, and that's the topic of departmental fitness.
Yeah.
Are you offering anything there? Are people asking about that? Are you offering anything about that?
Yeah. So, and I guess before I get into that, I'm going to kind of go back one step to kind of make it all make more sense. So really what I'm after is I'm trying to fill a hole in training that just doesn't, there are certain things that I think we are just not talking about in EMS.
Yeah.
And they're things that people either are not comfortable to talk about or they don't have enough training to feel like they can teach, right? So I really, I'm not trying to replace maybe like a basic 12 lead class, right? I'm sure there's probably a qualified person at every department that can teach their staff how to read a 12 lead. I'm trying to find those little niche things that people are not comfortable with and then focusing on hitting those training topics, right? The vent is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, fitness, health, wellness is another piece that I just think there's so, I mean, you and I have talked about this a lot, is there's so much information out there that is it a barrier? Almost there's too much information, maybe, right? I don't know.
I think we went from there's not enough information and where do I get information to now there's too much information.
Right.
And at some point in life, there was a sweet spot, right? It was either you had to have a personal trainer or you don't, or you ripped workouts out of a magazine, or you just watched Rocky and you did what he did, right? And that too, everybody on the internet right now is yelling at you from inside a grocery store and telling you what not to eat. And apparently it's all bad.
Right.
That can't be true. Like it can't all be bad. There's gotta be good. Who do I find that's like valid and legit? Like I can tell you there's a few, I follow a few, people on Instagram that I get information from because they have proven to me to be a good resource and not full of shit. First of all, red flag warning. If somebody's inside a grocery store yelling at you about not eating it, just stop watching them. Like that's not a thing. Like we don't do that. And if they're doing it with their shirt off, double red flag. Like it's even more terrible and less valid, right? Because everything right now seems to be able to be defunct, meaning somebody puts out that oatmeal is good for you and is heart healthy, and somebody comes and says oatmeal is the worst food on the planet. And then you're like, okay, which is it? You can't. And so that's hard for people.
It is. But do you think it's hard because all that they're doing is, again, going back to like the adult learning model, is all we're doing is we're rote memorizing. We're just parroting the person you trust the most. Do you really invest the time to go, hey, Huberman told me to go and wake up and dunk my face in ice water and then do this sauna and go stand outside with my shoes off in the grass and then stare at the sun for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But do you actually understand what the principle, or like what is the understanding of why they are actually doing that? Like, what am I actually getting out of that?
I think those people that you talk about that we have kind of gravitated, and everybody's got their leader, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we all gravitate, we're tribal. And as much as that is a disadvantage, I think sometimes it's an advantage.
Yeah.
Those people that we consider valid resources of information do that automatically. They tell us the why.
Right.
The people that yell at you on the internet that says, don't ever eat ice cream again,
they never give it to you
with their shirt off. They never really tell you why.
But they're probably the loudest and they're probably the most viewed, right?
Yes.
Because for me to understand the impact of dopamine, I had to listen to Andrew Huberman for 2 hours, right? And are people willing to invest that time?
No.
And that's the problem. And so what I'm trying to do is, okay, I'm going to go back again, right? You and I both know that I cannot force someone to change their health. I can't force someone to eat better. I can sit there and tell them they're unhealthy and they need to eat better all day long and they won't change. Same thing with working out. But what I'm really trying to target are kind of with the classes that I'm going to try to offer, just, this is going to be the class at this date, this place. If you want to pay to show up, show up. If you're not interested at all, don't show up. Sure. So it's if people are willing and want to invest in themselves and are concerned with this or they want help, can we give them a good resource and can we give them training?
And really in our profession, a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and again, you didn't get out of shape overnight. You're not going to get in shape overnight. And then what does in shape mean? Like, does it mean you're registering for a CrossFit competition? Right. No. It means you can maybe now carry that stair chair up a couple flights of stairs without sounding worse off than the COPD patient than you are trying to help. Right? It may mean putting shoelaces back in your shoes, right? It means something different for everybody. It does not have to be, the Mr. Olympia. It just has to be functional. Can you get yourself in a good position to lift somebody up off the floor on a backboard? Or do you have to wait for the fire department to come help you do it? Right. Because you can't. It may mean, here's a little fun fact that I learned, if anybody really cares. Well, we'll see where that goes. Here's a little fun fact that I learned that I didn't know. When I do 24-hour shifts, I bring less calories to work because I know that I'm not going to be expending a lot of energy. So I would calorie restrict a little harder than normal on 24-hour days. That's the wrong way to do it. Because if I'm up for those 24 hours and I have to perform a task at 2 a.m, where's the energy? I don't have any. Right. Because I've eaten my 3 small meals and my 1 snack already by 8 o'clock at night, and I've got a whole 12 hours to go. So now I eat more on my 24 hours in the event that I have to perform my job duties. And just to your point as well, is you go, well, where's my energy? Well, typically you find it at Come and Go at 2 a.m, and it's in the candy aisle. Yes. Or it's like, listen, and nothing. I like nothing more than a chocolate cake donut with sprinkles. Yeah. To wash it down with chocolate milk. And I did that for a lot of years. It is not the way. Right. But the point being is that to move the needle a little bit in our job has exponential benefits to you, your recovery after 24-hour shifts, your preparedness for the next shift, how you show up to your job, and how you deliver your service for your patients. Yeah. It's exponential. And when we self-deprecate ourselves to be like, oh, I'm sorry, sweetie, my belly's a little big and I got to wait for help to pick you up. Like, that does not bode well for the people that call you for help. Typically, when you get called for help, it's because you're better off than the people that you're helping. Yeah. And if you're showing up not that way, that's an issue, in my opinion. Yeah. And I get it. This is one of those topics that you can make it sound real off-putting. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not. It's well-intentioned. It's really just well-intentioned to where if you're out there and you want to learn how, I can imagine, walking in that 3 weeks ago and walking into that CrossFit gym, I was intimidated, right? Sure. And I have worked out
my entire life.
Yeah.
I walk in feeling pretty fit, confident, and it was extremely intimidating. I cannot imagine how that feels for someone who's probably never worked out in their life or really has no experience lifting. And so for them to kind of access, it's hard because we go, well, guys, there's all these resources. Just go to a gym, go do this, go do that, walk into a CrossFit gym. It's easy to say that, it's another to do it.
Sure.
And so I think what I'd like to try to offer is seminars or classes for people to show up and hear it from a first responder.
And I think it's important to note that I don't believe that fitness starts in the gym. I believe, well, let me rephrase that. Fitness does. Health does not start in the gym, it starts in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You don't have to do Cindy RX to be in good shape.
Right.
Weight loss, metabolic health, all starts with the stuff we're putting in.
Mm-hmm.
Energy levels, all starts with the stuff we're putting in. And you can pick your carnivore, keto, South Beach, Weight Watchers, nobody gives a shit. Yeah, nobody gives a shit. It's all about eating real foods to lose weight in a calorie deficit, to gain weight in a calorie excess, to stay the same maintenance, right? And to increase your metabolic health with healthier foods.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Right.
If nobody wants to walk into that fitness center at your station and do a couple air squats or a couple push-ups or a couple bicep curls, don't care.
Right.
You can do so much for your health just through nutrition.
Yep.
That will put you ahead of the game.
100%.
Right.
Feel better, look better,
perform better. Like that's where all your performance comes from.
Yep.
Is food.
And so
the icing on the cake is fitness is for longevity, right? Nutrition is for health and metabolic fitness. Right.
Yep.
I think people see a certain type of physique and they're like, I'm not going to go into the gym for an hour and work out every day, man, just to lose 10 pounds. Well, guess what? You don't have to.
Right.
You just have to change a few things in the daily habits.
Yeah.
And maybe drive by the Come and Go or the Quick Star.
And just having the tips of like, well, how do I do that, right? How do I do that on a 12 or 24-hour shift? How can I organize myself? What time, like, how do I do it? And even the base understanding of like, I'm not going to go in there and say, you guys need to eat keto because of X, Y, and Z. It's really more of like looking at it more in terms of maybe that first meeting you'd have with a nutritionist of just, hey, let's start at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Just
what is a macronutrient?
What is a macro, right? What are the macros? How do I measure them? What is a good composition of macros, right?
I can tell you the easy part for me is working out. That is easy to me.
100%.
I have zero problem finding content to workouts to do. I have zero problem with access. I have zero problem with discipline and will. Like I enjoy doing it. It is fun. I'm going to go do one here in a couple hours and it's probably going to suck, but I'm going to love every second of it.
Yep.
The hard part for me is building that nutritional balance.
Because you're having to make right decisions all day.
It's
just one time a day.
And every day, not just Monday through Friday.
Right.
Saturday, Sunday too.
Right.
It takes a ton of intentional work just to be 10 pounds overweight, which is what I am. Like I have to focus all day, every day on what I'm doing and what I'm putting in just to be 10 pounds heavier than I want to be. So in order to get those 10 pounds off, I have to increase that work. Like but that's what it takes.
Right.
It takes what it takes.
Right. So I really just want to give people the tools to, again, just understand, right? Understand what the downfalls of our jobs are, the sleep, the stress, what is that doing to your body? And here's how we can counteract it and at least understand what's happening. And then they can make their own decision.
Do you see a Cadre Training podcast in your future?
I think so.
Podcast series?
Very possible. Either a podcast series or just maybe like long form videos, maybe on YouTube of different topics. I've kind of had just like, I'm sure you probably did the same, right? You have like a little list of ideas of like, I really want to talk about this. I have things to say.
I have a lot of notes. Yeah. And some of them have come true and some of them haven't.
Yep.
Ideas, things I'm going to work on, projects and things.
Yeah. Things I want to get out there, but mostly just to give people a sampling of like, this is who I am. This is how I talk. This is the things that I like. And this is the way I teach. And people like it or they don't. And I'm available for them if they want it.
You have notes down there. Is there anything you want to talk about we haven't talked about?
No, not really. I mean, I can really nerd out on education and adult learning. That's probably been the biggest difference for me was the time I invested and did all of the long form kind of education and training on how adults learn and how we learn, how we train, that kind of go into like the technique that I do it, but we don't need to get into all of the details of that. But
we can always save it for another episode. And I'm in no rush. I have nowhere to be. I'm just saying, like, if there's any way that this show, not that it has a huge reach yet, or even really, which is totally fine. I'm kind of one of those guys. I don't really look at the numbers. I know that consistently every week I have about 50 to 60 people that listen to the show. Yeah. And to me, that's a big number. Like it doesn't qualify for anything that Spotify wants you to qualify for. Like it doesn't qualify for ad revenue. Yeah. I can't make any money on it because it doesn't have that many downloads, and I don't really care. But point being, if there's anything this show can do for you to promote what you're doing, and I'm a huge fan. Yeah. Mostly because I'm a huge fan of the fact that you took an idea and then you made it come true. And I think if we talk about anything, that's a hard thing to do. I wish people knew how hard that was to put yourself out there to the world and says, "Hey, I'm Mike Schultz. I'm going to teach you a thing or two about a thing or two. If you're going to have to pay me to do it, but I'm willing to do it." And then have that kind of come back and be like, "This is working or not working." Like it's a big deal. Luckily for me so far, I can tell when I haven't hit it big because nobody's put any negative comments on my show yet. I'm just
no 1-star reviews.
Yeah, once that happens, once somebody says, "Man, this guy's an idiot, I can't believe anybody listens to him," I think that's probably when I know I've hit it big. But not my intention. I think your growth is probably more, or your project is directed more towards growth. Yes. Because that's how it's going to be successful.
Correct. Through a lot of word of mouth, a lot of going in and having conversations with people, meeting people. I'm gonna inquire about maybe trying to get like a booth at IAMSA. Yeah. To just meet people, talk to people, find out. I really just want to, again, I just think that training, I can't speak for the rest of the country, but I just think we can do training better. Yeah. As EMS, as an industry within the state of Iowa, I just think that we kind of put it to the side. We all show up to the same conference every other year.
It's always a checkbox on a list of bullshit, man. Yeah. Can Jason turn on the ventilator? Check.
Right. Can we make training not about checking a box? And can we actually feel better? And, I find when we actually know what we're doing and we feel confident in it and we've received good training, it makes the job more fun. Yeah. Like I like not being super stressed out when I'm on the way to a call and they're intubated and they're going to have to go in the vent. And I'm not going, "Oh boy." Right. So I just want to give that to people. And I think also learning things the right way makes you a better teacher. Like when Mike explained it this way, it made sense. So now I'm going to explain it that way.
I had to teach, and you know this because you gave me the assignment, I had to teach ventricular drains to a bunch of CCPs. Right. Listen, man, if there's anybody not to teach ventricular drains, it's this guy. I see like 3 a year. Right. And I'm always with a nurse who nerds out on that kind of stuff. So you just kind of let them go, right? You're like, "Man, this is great. You do your thing." Yeah. But I became better for it. Obviously I had to review, I had to go down to the unit and I had to have somebody show me, again, is there anything I'm missing on this deal? Because I'm going to teach some people how to do this and they're going to do it one day. And they'll be like, "Man, that one guy told me that if I put this drain below the patient's head, they'll die." Right. So I'm not going to do that. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just, I'm going to get paid a lot of money just to kind of tell these people that they'll probably never see a ventricular drain, so not to worry about it. No, this is the big time. This is what you're going to be doing. It's a big responsibility. Yep. So kudos to you, man, for doing this project. I think that's what I'm most, what I think should be most celebrated is you took an idea and you said, "Let's see what happens."
Yeah, I had to take my own advice, right? Stop being so afraid to fail.
Just we all do.
Yeah, we all do. It's human nature, but
this whole growth thing is like living in yourself perpetually in like a negative-ish. Because when you want to do what you said you want to do, I want to talk myself out of this and make me feel better. And then you got to be like, well, you can't go on a podcast and say not to do it. Right. If I myself won't do it. Right. And there's so many examples in life on a daily basis where I'm like, I don't know that this feeling right now is living up to what I'm trying to get everybody else to do when I'm talking shit on my show. Right. So maybe I should just be better myself. And that's a hard
It's tough.
It's like losing that last 10 pounds. You got to focus all day, every day.
Yep. And that's kind of what, I've had excuses. I think they're pretty legitimate excuses for the last couple months since I've started, of where I haven't really pushed a lot harder. But it's down on my calendar, like when I'm going to start putting out more social media. For me, one of the biggest fears is being recorded. Like video is very difficult for me.
Yeah.
As soon as I go stand in front of an audience of 100 people, no sweat.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put a camera in front of me and hit play, it's just like,
which is ironic, because one of the ways, if anybody's still listening by now, one of the ways they want me to, they've given me advice to grow my show is to video.
Right. So people can watch the conversation.
Okay. But that drives me insane. Do you ever sit down and watch two dudes talk?
I will if I really like the person on.
If it's on my computer and I'm doing something else, and that's the only way to play the YouTube, the podcast, yes. But I don't ever go home and sit down and turn my TV on and flip on Spotify and go, oh, I'm going to listen to Joe Rogan and Andrew Huber and talk to, I'm going to watch Joe Rogan. And I never, it's always in my car. It's always on a walk. It's always, when I'm warming up for my workout.
Yeah.
And so that to me is odd. Like they want me to record you and I
having our conversation
on YouTube. Grow your show. It'll be great. Everybody will watch. And I'm like, but they can't be wrong, because they
know.
Right.
They know.
The algorithm knows.
We're talking ourselves out of it already, right?
Right. But to me, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to sit down and watch two dudes talk and have a conversation. No, I'll listen to two guys talk. It's the same as listening to somebody read me a book.
Yeah.
I'll just read the book.
Right.
Right. But not everybody feels that way.
That's a big piece for me that I'm going to try to, I'm going to get over it. Right. And I'm just going to it's hard to put yourself out there and be like, well, what if I look dumb? What if I sound stupid? I'm going to talk about this thing. People are going to go, yeah, why are you telling me this? Right.
Yeah.
Like
people are going to comment and be like, this guy's the dumbest guy in the world.
Right.
Like, why are we doing this?
So all those things are floating through the head, and then, just going to do it. Right.
Yeah,
see where it goes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, big fan. I'm a big fan of the idea. Big fan of putting that idea out there. So if there's anything we can offer you, just let us know.
I appreciate it.
Anything else before we go?
I don't think so. Like I said, you'll include the link to my website.
Yep.
And then in the show notes or whatever you want to call it.
I'll figure it out.
We're learning things together, right?
We'll figure it out.
But that's it.
All right, man. Well, thanks for taking time out of your day to do this. I hope this will come out next week.
Perfect.
I hope everybody listens. I think if for not just training content, but for motivation to put that idea into play.
Yeah.
Let's get that idea out of our head. Put it in motion.
Yep. Just do it.
Just do it. All right, everybody. Work hard. Be kind. Hey guys, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Shift Change Podcast. I need to ask if you would leave a rating. I think that it helps people who are new to the podcast find it quicker. It doesn't do me any good, but it does help other people that are looking for the Shift Change Podcast on Spotify or Apple. It just comes up quicker the more ratings that you give it. Whether you give it a 2 or a 5, it doesn't make a difference. It just helps other people. If you need to get a hold of me, contact me via my email, the show email, which is talkshiftchange@gmail.com. Or you can message me on Instagram at talk.shiftchange. At talk.shiftchange on Instagram. As always, thanks for listening. I could not have imagined how well this podcast has been received. So, as always, I appreciate it. Work hard, be kind.